Welcome to Crazy Canadian Killers. My name is Catherine, and today our case is the case of Jennifer Pan, and this takes us to Markham, Ontario, a town 30 kilometers northeast of Toronto. About 400,000 people reside there. The area is known for its festivals, hockey tournaments, mini parks, and malls to enjoy. On November 8th, 2010, police were called to the residence of 238 Helen Avenue in Markham after a report of a robbery and assault came in as a 911 call. A girl was on the end of the line screaming for help as her and her parents were being held captive by robbers. At the scene, police found Mother Bic Ha Pan, Father Hui Han Pan. Both had been shot numerous times. Their daughter, Jennifer, 23, was unharmed. At the scene, Bic Ha Pan was pronounced dead. Hui was rushed to the hospital where he remained in a coma for 3 days. Jennifer was interviewed by the police where she told a horrific story of a home invasion gone wrong. But when Hui woke up from this coma 3 days later, he had a completely different story to tell, although. Jennifer Cecilia Pan was born June 17th, 1986 in Markham, Ontario. Her parents were Bic Ha Pan and Hui Han Pan. They lived in Vietnam in 1979 and lived in Scarborough, Ontario in the Toronto area. Jennifer has a brother named Felix who was born in 1989. Papa and Mama Pan found work at Magna International, which is an auto parts manufacturer company located in Aurora. The Pans worked extremely hard, and by 2004, they had a large home in Markham, a Lexus, and a Mercedes. And they had $200,000 in saving. And you know what? There is nothing wrong with $500,000 in assets in 25 years. Now, this seems all cool on the outside, but apparently Jennifer's dad, Hui, was rumored to be what is called a tiger dad. Now, a tiger dad is an overpowering, authoritarian parent who pushes her children overachieves. Jennifer had a tiger dad, and her mom just quietly went along with it. They would pick Jennifer up at the end of school each day. She wasn't allowed to attend dances or parties, and all of her activities were monitored. Her upbringing was considered oppressive and restricting, and according to her, just basically sucked. Jennifer was in piano lessons at the age of 4, and apparently she was very good. She won a lot of awards. She started figure skating in elementary school. Her parents spent thousands of dollars on her training, and they were very dedicated to her. Jennifer wanted to be an Olympic figure skating champion, but she tore a knee ligament, and unfortunately by the 8th grade, Jennifer was self-harming by cutting. While in the 11th grade, although she was attending the Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School, where she was actually dating a senior named Daniel Wong, but he was forced to transfer to a new school after police found marijuana in his car. Dumbass. So this is where things went downhill for Jennifer so badly, she never recovered, and she currently is serving life with no possibility of parole for 25 years in the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener, Ontario, and now has a Netflix documentary about her called What Jennifer Did. So let me tell you what Jennifer did. So at this time, after Jennifer's boyfriend was transferred from her school, her grades slid from A's to B's, and little Jennifer, our sweet, precious 4-year-old piano-playing Jennifer, started forging her report cards. Now, I've forged my report cards in the past, but I'm not a con artist. I never went on to a criminal career of forging checks or convincing people to take out life insurance policies. I actually find con artists to be the worst kind of criminal because they are pathological liars, and they actually believe their own stories so passionately that they could literally get busted red-handed holding a bloody axe over a dead body they just killed, but can 100% look you in the eyes and say, I didn't do this, and actually believe it, and spend the rest of their lives in jail professing their innocence. And because con artists believe in their innocence so profoundly, they are quickly capable from starting with forging something as small as a $1 check and then to taking a life insurance policy out on someone and then jumping to figuring out how to kill the insured at an accelerated pace. So this illness is called Machiavellianism. So Jennifer is what happens with someone with a disposition for Machiavellianism, which was probably brought on by the overzealous parenting of her tiger dad. It begins with a harmless forgery at a young age, and that gets out of control. So guess what? In grade 12, she fails calculus. Right? Now what? And as much as she could fool her parents into believing she had straight A's with a pencil, how is she going to get into the school's database to change her fails to A's? And of course her schools knew she was failing, and because of this her application to the Toronto Metropolitan University was denied. This was 2004. So this is where my anxiety would have just got the best of me, and I would have just been like, fuck it, mom and dad, I suck. But no, not our Jennifer, not our little rock star. You know what she does? She goes, oh my God, mom and dad, I was accepted into the Toronto Metro U. I start in the fall. How awesome is your daughter, right? I literally don't have the balls to do this. Well, I take it back. It's not that I don't have the balls to do this. I'm just really shitty at lying. And she even told her father she would transfer to the University of Toronto after 2 years to complete a pharmacology program because she had won a $3,000 scholarship. She had even printed out student loan documents using Photoshop. That a girl, way to think of all the details. Her dad was so proud of her, he bought her a new laptop. So, for 4 years, people, Jennifer pretended to go to university for 4 years. She faked going to the Toronto Metro U for 2 years, and then faked going to the University of Toronto for another 2 years, faked a graduation, and then faked being unable to find a pharmacy job when she couldn't even apply for one, which I personally find extraordinary. That would take a hell of a lot of mental commitment involving a ton of wasted time, and I can't even understand if she was driven by fear of her father or just blind denial. But fake attending university for 4 years is straight up insanity. But I guess that would explain where our little Miss Jennifer snapped one day. So Jennifer would wake up every day and her parents would drive her to Toronto, drop her off at the university, and then pick her up every night. She would work during the day at cafes. She would teach piano, or she would go to her boyfriend, Danny Wong's place, whom she dated secretly from her parents for 7 years. This girl has conviction. She dated someone secretly for 7 years. I can't even keep a relationship a secret from Facebook for 7 seconds. So Danny was a pizza worker who sold weed, but at least he was going to school. He was attending the Cardinal Carter Academy in North York. So literally while Danny is going to school and working and selling drugs to pay for his survival, his lame-ass girlfriend is hanging around his pad for 4 years, literally reading secondhand pharmacy textbooks and watching pharmacy videos. So if anyone asked her about pharmacy, she could just spout out the basics. And she photoshopped her fake Bachelor's of Science Pharmacy degree that was dated June 18th, 2008 from the University of Toronto that her parents hung on their wall. And it's actually a pretty decent forgery. So maybe she actually really should have taken up graphic design. We can only hope that maybe they offer that schooling in her Grand Valley Prison College. During a police interview, Danny stated that he broke up with her because after 7 years, he hadn't even had a meal with her parents because they didn't like him, because they didn't think he could support a family. So Danny started seeing someone else. And Jennifer stated in her police interview, this new girlfriend was texting her to back off of Danny, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, Danny started getting hundreds of silent hang-up phone calls and threatening texts. And Jennifer just happened to be getting the same calls. She also told Danny she was gang raped, and a man posing as a cop tried to enter her house. So this caused them to talk regularly, which is exactly what Jennifer wanted. Crazy pictures are fun, aren't they? So around this time, Jennifer still doesn't have a job, and her mother is starting to get really worried about the situation. So Jennifer caves in. She actually caves in, and she tells her parents the truth, the half-truth. Anyways, she tells them she went to university, but only for 2 years, and she didn't graduate. But of course, we all know she didn't go to university at all. But this is where the white elephant called motive walks into the room. And of course, her parents were absolutely pissed. And right there, and then they demanded every single dime that they gave her for university back. And Jennifer thought to herself, fuck that shit. On November 8th, 2010, Jennifer's mother had come home from line dancing, and she was sitting on the couch resting her feet, and she had a foot massager going on the floor, and so she fell asleep on the couch. Her dad fell asleep in bed, and Jennifer unlocked the door to the house, went upstairs, flashed her bedroom lights, and went to bed and waited for the 3 armed hitmen she just signaled that she hired to come on in, ransack the house, and kill her parents. On the 2nd floor landing, one of the Jennifer's hitmen zap-strapped her hands behind her back, where she miraculously had a cell phone in her back jeans pocket that no one noticed. Then they put her on her knees and zap-strapped her right shoulder to the banister, where down the hall, Jennifer's 2 other hitmen were ransacking the master bedroom where her father was. They took Jennifer's father, passed her down the stairs to where Jennifer's mother was sitting on the couch. She had been dozing while soaking her feet after the line of 9 dancing, right? This is where Jennifer says she got her cell phone out of her back pocket with her hands tied up and one of her arms tied to a banister, reached her hands to her hip so she could see her phone. She then dialed 911, turned up the volume, and screamed at the 911 operator for help while her parents were screaming for her downstairs, getting shot in the process. That was Jennifer's story, maintaining her victim status throughout 2 days of police interviews. So Jennifer's mother, Beckham Pan, died from gunshot wounds at the scene. Huey Pan was shot in the corner of his one eye and his shoulder, and was rushed to the hospital where he remained in an induced coma for 3 days. In the meantime, media took the story and ran with it, and the quiet neighborhood of Markham was terrified at the random act of violence, of course. The police had questions for Jennifer. Numerous expensive items were not stolen from the home, and the number one question was why would they let Jennifer live? And she said it was because she had cooperated. When Jennifer Pan's father awoke, though, he had a completely different story to tell about his little princess. And Hawaii's story terrified him so much that he and Jennifer's brother Felix requested a restraining order and had her banned from contacting them for the rest of their lives. And it takes a strong man to get a restraining order against your own daughter. And what's sad is that Jennifer's lawyers protested against this restraining order. The woman literally has no shame. As someone who you had shot, wants a restraining order against you, suck it up and own it, because don't cause more pain to the victim, making you fight them for their own right to feel safe. So the story that was told by Jennifer's hospital-ridden father stated that he was awoke to two gunmen forcing him downstairs. He was sat on a couch and was being pistol-whipped while his wife, who was on a different couch, was screaming, "They have no money," over and over. Here's the kicker. The whole time, according to her father, Jennifer was walking around the downstairs in the living room with the hitmen, not tied up, being friendly with the hitmen. For Jennifer's third interview, a specialized interrogator was brought in and legally got her to tell her the truth by telling her he had a lie-detected satellites on her. They questioned her why she had lied about the physical appearance of the hitman being completely different from the descriptions of the hitmen that her father described. From there, she partially caved and admitted to letting a hitman into the house by the name of Homeboy and agreeing to pay him $2,000 for a hit on her, not her parents. Of course, the police doesn't believe this lie neither, and finally they get a search warrant for her cell phone. So thousands of criminal cases such as drug overdose fatalities, homicides, terroristic acts, bomb threats, carjacking, and others every year are being cracked with the use of cell phone evidence because of the ability to track the location and text activities of their owners, right? So during the course of the investigation, Jennifer's boyfriend, Danny Wong, made a series of texts explaining how he had set the hitman Homeboy up for her. Through these texts, they were able to identify all of the hitmen involved: Eric Carty, David Mylagnagnam, and Lenford Crawford, aka Homeboy. Jennifer had the idea of hiring the hitman for $10,000, collecting the $500,000 she thought she would inherit from life insurance policies, and she would live happily ever after with Danny. And even though Danny was happy with his girlfriend, he thought a $500,000 payout was worth it. So Danny was wrong, as he and all the hitmen involved received life sentences without the possibility of parole for 25 years. Jennifer's mother's last words were, "Don't hurt my daughter." Thank you very much for watching. My name is Catherine, and this is Crazy Canadian Killers. Please feel free to subscribe as I try to put out a new video every week, and hit the like button as it helps with my exposure. See you in the next case.